slightly tougher than pâté, and unbelievably juicy. The steak brought all three men to the same level of extreme astonishment. I don't think any of us had ever had anything like it, Michel recalls. It felt like a freak of nature. It was the best steak we'd ever had. When the steak was finished, Michel went over to inspect the remaining raw beef. It was a dark brownish red, with lots of streaks of white in it. Since then, my cousin has been searching. He has eaten a fair amount of steak, some of it very good, but none of it equal to the Sierra Nevada steak of 1980. The best steak I ever ate gave way between my teeth like wet tissue paper under a heavy knife. There was a pop of bloody, beefy steak juice, and I had to close my lips to keep any of it from escaping. The problem is, this steak lives only in my imagination. I haven't actually tasted it. Not yet, anyway. It's a false memory of the culinary variety. There have been, certainly, remarkable steaks in my past, most notably one at a Peruvian chain restaurant in a suburban mall in Santiago, Chile. It was served on its own plate, separate from the French fries, allowing the juice to pool in a manner that seemed premeditated. It was not the most tender steak I've ever eaten, but its deliciousness floored me. When I was done eating it, I raised the plate to my mouth, tipped it up, and gulped the juice in one long, excellent sip. I was ready to order another one, but I had a plane to catch. Steak came to me the same way consciousness did. One day I woke up, and it was there. My father started grilling it when I was around 9, as I recall, which is to say that's when he started sharing steak with his youngest son, because he had been buying it and cooking it regularly ever since the trip to McDonald's restaurant. By the age of 11, I knew the difference between a New York strip and a T-bone, the bone. When my parents visited their 3 boys at summer camp, they would bring cold steak, black cherries, and icy cans of Coca-Cola. My relationship with steak started getting, as they say, complicated in the early 1990s. My eldest brother, Eric, moved to South America and began sending regular dispatches on all the great steak he was eating. Every time I spoke to him on the phone, he evangelized about his latest fillet or ribeye, and I would hang up jealous and hungry. One day, he told me the secret to a great steak: season it only with salt and pepper. I went out and bought the most expensive steaks I could find and did as he said. The piece of meat on the end of my fork tasted like textured salt water. I did not give up. Most of the steaks I cooked resulted in textured salt water, but occasionally there was a standout. I bought a strip loin at an above-average grocery store one day and pan-fried it according to a Julia Child recipe, and it tasted so good I felt like taking to the streets and raving about its deliciousness through a megaphone. The next day, I returned to the same store and bought an identical-looking strip loin. It was terrible. I began chasing steak in earnest the year I got married. My wife and I went to Tuscany for our honeymoon, and on our second night there we ate at a restaurant in Florence called Del Fagioli, a cozy little spot with checkered tablecloths and big flagons of Chianti. The waiter did not recommend pasta, veal marsala, or anything else I had, until actually visiting Italy, thought of as Italian food. His advice? Get the steak. We did, and when I swallowed the first bite, I let out a string of 4-letter words and fell silent for a duration lasting more than a minute. Then I swore some more. The steak was that good. A few years later, I found myself on what may turn out to be the greatest journalistic assignment of the century. To celebrate its 20th anniversary, a glossy travel magazine called Condé Nast Traveler asked me to travel around the world in 80 days, the sole condition being that I wasn't allowed to fly. I saw it as a well-funded steak excursion, and the first night I found myself driving through Chicago, a city famous for its excellent and huge steaks. I went to one of the pricier steakhouses, one that claims to keep it